It is a winter evening. It's a weeknight, and I have just shown up to my friend Dan's house. I have a guitar in my right hand, guitar case, and a ukulele, a little green ukulele in my left hand. I knock on the door, and his wife, Melissa, opens the door with her big smile and her long blonde hair. She says, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Good." She has me come on in. We're used to this because I show up a couple nights every week to do this exact same thing. She says, "You can go on down. Dan's down there." I said, "Okay." And I see the kids watching a show on the couch. And I said, "Hey, kids." Just two little ones, and then there's a baby. I go down to the basement, my old familiar haunt. And I knock gently on the door. He says, "Come in." And I peek my head and say, "Hey." He says, "Hey, how you doing?" And I see my friend Dan. He's a thin guy with a big smile, and he loves music just as much as I do. Maybe even more. And this is his recording studio. He has his own studio in his own house, and it's so cool. And I'm so thankful to know him. He goes to my church, and we do music together a lot. And we have a few other friends at church that are really into music too. So we record together sometimes. I've been working on making my second CD, and Dan is producing it for me, free of charge. He's super nice. To be honest, I think he would be sad if he wasn't producing or doing some sort of music for somebody. He's sitting at the control panels, and he has a big screen in front of him, and the room is padded all the way around so that the acoustics, so it doesn't sound echoey. Even on the ceiling, he has put some egg crate cushion stuff. Then there's my regular bench with my microphone that I usually sit at. And then he has a microphone where he sits, and a keyboard. And against the wall, there's about every instrument you can imagine. My friend Dan can play anything. And I show him the ukulele, said, "Hey, look at this. I just got it." He's like, "Oh, that's fun. Let me try it out." He's never tried a ukulele before. Within 1 minute, he's playing songs on it. I just can't believe the talent of this guy. He is skilled. He has a mandolin against the wall, an electric guitar, a bass, an acoustic. I can't even name some of the instruments. They're like big long tubes and penny whistles, all the things. It is really a treat to come in here and see him at work. And he said, "I've been working on one of your songs." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, I added a few layers to it." So he plays it for me, and I'm standing behind him, and it sounds so cool. Like, that is not a sound I could have come up with on my own. He added some electric guitar, and he just made it sound much bigger. And he has a drum set and he added drums to it. So tonight, our big task is to lay down my acoustic guitar track and then my singing track. So we do the guitar track first. To be honest, I'm more comfortable with the singing than the guitar, but I've practiced so many times, it's fine. We're always practicing. If I'm not at his house, I'm practicing at home because I'm single and this is my huge hobby that I love. And so after quite a while, we finally get the guitar track laid, and it sounds pretty good. We have to go over a few different parts and relay some tracks, but it's fine. It's just how it goes. So that sounds pretty good. And then we get to the singing part, and this part is fun. So I put my headphones on, and I can hear it. It's always hard to come in at the right beat. So it's like 1, and and then I have to start singing right when the music starts. I'm the one that wrote it this way. I wrote this song. I can only blame myself. And this is a song about praising God no matter what. And so it's a fun song to go over and over, because you have to do it a million times when you're recording. But I have to say, there's nothing else I would rather be doing. And then we hear a little knock on the door, and Dan says, yeah. And his wife, Melissa, peeks her head, and she's like, I have some hot cocos. You all want them? Like, yeah, that sounds so good. And she brings in these cups of hot cocoa, and they have whipped cream and peppermint pieces sprinkled on top. I mean, what a good wife he has. So thanks, you are nice. And so she sticks down there for a little while to kind of listen to what we're doing. So I start singing, and I lay down most of the track, but then there's a really big part where I have to sing a high note basically as loud as I possibly can. Yes, for some reason I wrote this into my song, even though it's a little bit difficult for me. And Melissa goes back upstairs. She knows I have some work to do here. So Dan encourages me. He's like, okay, just act like I'm not here. And I practice a few times. And then when the music starts playing in my headphones, I just build up all my strength, and I get up all of my breath, and I belt it out. And I get that note nice and strong. And Dan turns around in his bench on his chair, and he looks at me wide-eyed like, oh. And we finished that track, and he said, where did that come from? I said, I don't know. I don't think I could do that again, but I did get it out for the recording anyway. So it made me feel kind of good, but it was also really funny to see his reaction. I tend to be a quiet person, so I think it startled him to see me be a very loud person. And I pick up my cup of hot cocoa, and it feels so nice and warm. We're in the basement, so it's pretty cool. And I take a sip, and I get a whipped cream mustache. And then we hear another knock. And I hear a guy's voice, hey! And it's my friend Steven. He's another music friend from church. We're all around the same age. And Steven's a single guy from church, and he's one of our really good friends. And he actually has been making his own CD. He has a little recording thing at his house, but he likes to come to Dan's to record, since Dan has a really good setup. But tonight he's here to help me out with harmonies on one of my songs, because he's good at singing. He's amazing on guitar. So sometimes he'll lay special guitar tracks and things that I can't do on guitar. But tonight it's all about harmonizing. So he gets all set up. He's standing in front of the microphone. It's like a rectangle microphone, and it has a little screen on the front of it, so your breath will be caught before it hits the microphone. And he puts his headphones on. I can't hear any of the music at this point because it's just in the headphones, and Dan has his headphones on, staring at the computer as the music is going. And suddenly I hear Steven harmonizing, and I find it so odd to hear just harmony with no other music or singing. I'm trying really hard not to be immature and laugh at the sound of it, because he sounds good. I mean, he has a good voice. It's not that. It's just, it's weird to hear just a harmony. It makes the song sound so different. And so Steven does his part. We hang out for a while, and to be honest, we just really enjoy hanging out and talking music. We could talk music for hours. And we talk about what Steven is doing in his album and different songs that I'm still working on, and just finishing up everything. Actually, I don't have too much more to do before Dan is going to master the album, which is make all the finishing touches, which actually takes a long time. And this is so exciting. I just plan to hand the CD out to friends and at church, and just to be an encouragement. It's so much fun. So we say our goodbyes, and I put my coat back on and I take my instruments back out to the car and I look up at the stars, and I'm thankful I have a reason to sing, and that God gives us skill sets and makes us happy to use them, like, and such good friends from church. There's so much I'm thankful for right now. I hop into my little beater car and back out and start driving down the road back to the apartment I live in with a bunch of girls, and I'm excited to go see them again too. And I'm just thankful, and I just really had a great time tonight.